In 2014, a story went viral on the internet about a woman who sent text messages to her deceased husband's phone number every single day for 2 years. She told him about her day, complained about her boss, and shared their children's successes. To many, it looked like madness, an inability to accept reality. But what if she was completely sane? What if this wasn't a breakdown of the human psyche, but its most complex, most brilliant defense mechanism? We are used to thinking that death is the finale, an absolute severing of connection, a full stop after which there is only emptiness. Society tells us, you have to let go, you need to move on. But where does a person actually end? With their last heartbeat, with their last breath, or when the final bite of information about them is permanently erased from our brains? Welcome to the ArcanumX files. Today, we are diving deep into the neurobiology of grief and the psychology of memory. We will decode a concept that has turned the scientific world upside down, the theory of continuing bonds. And you will understand why science has proven that a physiological connection between the living and the dead is absolutely real. Throughout the 20th century, classical psychology dictated a strict and unforgiving rule. It was based on the works of Sigmund Freud and was known as the work of mourning. The premise was brutal but seemed logical. To survive a loss, a person must completely sever their emotional attachment to the deceased. You had to extract your emotional energy from the past and redirect it into the future. If you continued talking to the departed, if you kept their belongings, if you thought you saw them in a crowded room, it meant you were stuck. You were pathological. You needed psychological treatment. For decades, grieving people were forced to let go, essentially being asked to amputate a part of their own identity. But in the late 1990s, a quiet revolution took place. Psychologists Dennis Klass, Phyllis Silverman, and Stephen Nickman published research that completely dismantled these old dogmas. They declared that the goal of grieving is not to sever the connection. Biologically and psychologically, that is impossible. The true goal of grieving is to transform that connection. They called this concept continuing bonds. Science finally acknowledged a profound truth. We do not simply delete the people we love from our internal database. And to understand exactly why this happens, we have to look inside our own skulls. For your brain, a loved one is not just a fleeting image or a passing thought. They represent a massive, incredibly complex neural architecture. Our brains are constantly mapping reality. To help us survive and function, the brain creates a virtual, predictive simulation of the world inside itself. Within this simulation, every close person is assigned specific coordinates: time, space, and the degree of emotional intimacy. Your brain literally knows where your partner, parent, or child is at any given moment when they are expected to return, and how deeply you are connected to them. The brain spends years building thick, powerful neural highways designed to predict this specific person's behavior. Now, imagine what happens when that person dies. Logically, you know what happened. Your cerebral cortex has received the final devastating data. They are gone. But the deeper, older structures of your brain, your limbic system, refuse to believe it. For these primitive regions, death is illogical. It is a glitch in the matrix. In neurobiology, this is known as a prediction error. The neural pathways that took decades to build are still fully active. Your brain is still releasing dopamine and oxytocin, expecting the key to turn in the front door at exactly 6 p.m. It generates the usual subconscious impulses. Call him, ask her for advice. This is precisely why, in the first few months of a profound loss, we might hear the voice of the departed or catch a glimpse of them out of the corner of our eye. This isn't mysticism. It isn't a ghost. It is your brain desperately trying to fill a sudden, massive void with a familiar pattern. It is pinging a server that is no longer responding. Demanding that a grieving person immediately let go is like demanding that a river instantly flow backward. Neural connections require years to physically restructure themselves, and the most fascinating part is they never disappear completely. So how does the theory of continuing bonds work in practice? We transfer the person from the external physical world into our internal world. We create a completely new psychological coordinate for them. Remember the woman from the beginning of this video? She wasn't texting her husband because she expected a reply. She was using a ritual to safely upload his image, his essence, into her subconscious. Over time, the sharp agony of the prediction error fades, but the bond remains intact. The departed person slowly transforms into your internal compass. You face a difficult decision at work, and you catch yourself thinking, "What would my father say in this situation?" And your brain, utilizing the highly detailed personality model of your father that it has safely stored, instantly generates an answer in his voice, with his exact intonation. We preserve their habits. We suddenly start cooking a grandmother's recipe that we used to hate. We continue cheering for their favorite sports team. We finish the projects they left undone. In these moments, the deceased directly influences the physical world. Through you, your hands become their hands. Your choices are guided by their principles. This proves an astonishing scientific fact. In the informational structure of our reality, death is not the absolute end of existence. A human personality is converted into a code, and that code is deeply integrated into those who are left behind. Is there a connection between the living and the dead? Today, science answers with an absolute yes. But you don't need seances or mysticism to find it. This connection exists within the most complex mechanism in the known universe, the human brain. Grief is not an illness that needs to be cured. It is not an obstacle course you have to sprint through just to forget. Grief is the profound process of translating love from a physical presence into eternal internal memory. We do not let go of those we love. We carry them forward with us, and as long as a single synapse pulses in your neural network, preserving their image, their voice, or their habit, they are alive. They are right here with us. Thank you for watching the ArcanumX files. If this video resonated with you, leave a comment below and share your story. Subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the science of the mind. Until next time.